everyone! Today I'm going to take you through how to make your own homemade matzah. It's a pretty simple recipe with ingredients we should all have, and I thought it would be fun to make our own matzah for Passover. This recipe can be doubled really easily. I cut it in half, so I was using less of my resources, but depending on your family size, it's a pretty straightforward recipe that you can either scale up or scale down. All right, let's get started. So, in my bowl, I have 2 1/4 cups of flour. So, this, like I said, is for the half recipe. If you wanted to double it, you would do 4 1/2, but this is 2 1/4. And to that, we are going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, just right in there, and 1 tablespoon of oil. I used a neutral canola oil, but you know, right now it's whatever we have, right? Got to be resourceful. Okay, and I'm just going to get in there with my hand and just mix that around. It's going to be a little bit craggy. And then I have here 6 tablespoons of warm water. You could, for the double batch, be about 3/4 of a cup. And I'm just going to dump that in. So as we know for matzah, I learned this from Margot yesterday. You kind of want to be quick about making this because you want to make it in optimally 18 minutes if you can. All right, so there the dough's starting to come together. Let me just take a look here. It's going to get a little sticky. Just want to see if I need to add. I might need to add a tiny bit more water just so it all comes together. You can add a little bit at a time, just until a ball forms. So right now I have my oven at 500 degrees. It's very hot. So this is definitely something you can do as a family together, but I would really recommend an adult be present to help with turning the crackers in the oven. Basically, the matzah is going to cook very quickly, so we don't want to have the kids do this part by themselves since the temperature of the oven is so high. But definitely the kids could make the dough. This part's really fun and messy. Definitely the rolling out or the pasta machine cranking method would be really a good part for the kids to do too. And then, you know, the adult could do the section with putting it in the oven. Okay, so this has come together really nice. I'm just going to go ahead and get a pastry cutter really quick. All right, so I'm going to cut this into roughly 4 equal pieces so I can work with one at a time so I go a little bit faster. And I'm going to go on ahead, trying to gather up as much as I can. You can be pretty forceful with it since you're going to be rolling it out. Often I would say you would want dough to rest, but in this case, speed is of the essence. So in order to get it to fit into my pasta machine over here, I need to roll it out just a bit. So I'm going to get a rolling pin and just roll it out just a bit, just so it fits into that first one. If you don't have a pasta machine, totally fine. You're just going to roll it as thin as possible. Okay, gonna see now if I can get that into my pasta machine. Okay. So put it in. Needs to be rolled out a tiny bit more. All right. Great. Okay. So if you've never used a pasta machine before, I've used it a few times to make like lasagnas and things like that. You start on the lowest setting and then you go up. So where the gap is gonna get smaller and smaller to make your dough thinner and thinner. And you, like I said, want to work as quickly as you can. Okay. So I have 6 settings on mine. This is 5. Sometimes things get a bit wonky. That's totally fine. Okay. Those will be scrapped ones. And then the last one. Okay, I'm just gonna use a knife and trim the ends so it gets in there a little bit nicer. And sometimes, you know, your pasta machine is gonna get a little fiddly on you, and that's okay. Okay, so at that point, you're gonna have your matzo. So I want to keep it into nice rectangles. You can definitely still cook the scraps, but you know, you definitely want to make sure you kind of make them look as rectangular as possible. Now, what we're going to do with these, you could leave them just as is. You don't need to season them at all. I think it's fun to season them, so I'm going to quickly poke them with a fork. And what this is going to do is just make sure that they don't puff up in the oven. This creates little air holes. For the steam to go, because the oven is so hot. And then now I'm just gonna take a little cup of water and dip my brush very lightly, because I'm gonna add a few seasonings. So I'm just gonna lightly brush it. You could put just salt on here. I'm gonna add, for fun, a little za'atar mix that I have. Shout out to Oakland Spice Shop. Just gonna sprinkle a little bit on there. Okay, I'm gonna transfer these to a baking sheet. Okay, just be very gentle. And you don't need to oil it because they won't stick. They're gonna cook so fast. So I'm gonna put these into the oven for about 30 seconds. So this is the part where you really want to watch. So I'm going to set my timer. This is going to get really hot. All right. So I'm just going to get down here, get ready to flip. maybe another 30 seconds. You just want to stay really close, just in case. Even turn the oven light on for us here. You just want to keep an eye. If you don't have, often the recipes will call for a baking stone. If you don't have a pizza stone or a baking stone, like I don't either, I went ahead and just used my baking sheet. And you just put them straight on there. You can start to see little air bubbles rising. I don't see any browning yet, so I'm just going to wait. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to be right here. And again, this is something where you definitely want the adults to help out with this. I'm going to check it. Flip it. No real right way to flip it. Just do your best. Okay. Be really careful. You don't want to burn yourself. Now this oven is really hot, so just do your best. Just remember, every time you open your oven, you're releasing all the heat in there, so it might take a little while for your oven to recalibrate back to 500 degrees. So that's also the catch-22, is like, you want to open it to check it, but you also don't want to keep it from being super hot in there. All right, I'm going to check it. Still feels a little wet when I poke it. Please be gentle with yourself when you're doing this. I could go for a little bit longer to dry out. And this is one of those things you just have to keep an eye on it. All right, let me see. Okay. Let's see. You might have to flip it a few times in here, but starting to see that browning. That's looking good. I'm going to pull it out. Okay. All right. These look great. I'm just going to put them on here. All right. Give it a nice snap. Oh, yeah. And there you have it. And here is your finished matzo. Just go on ahead and repeat the same process with your remaining balls of dough. And I hope you enjoy. Delicious.